It is bigger. I feel the ground move under my feet. People look around like, what could it be? They point to the towers, they point to the rise, but this shaking in the dirt is a warning in disguise.
Good evening and welcome to the Thought Brothers. I'm Gary Johnson, and we have the Thought Brothers co-hosts, and we have a bunch of guests with us tonight. Tonight's conversation is bigger than a movie. Last Saturday, something special happened here in our community with the screening of Rooted in the Cut. And people came out to watch this documentary about Black barbershops and the culture, entrepreneurship, friendship, community. All that was behind the movie. From ticket sales to merchandise to partnerships to support the scholarship fund. This event was very intentional and designed to recycle dollars back into our community. That was my goal. And too often people ask, well, how do we do it? How do we make a difference? When you bought a ticket, you made a difference. When you bought a t-shirt or a hoodie, you made a difference. That was like an investment. You were like an investor. And we proved Saturday that you can work together and collaborate. We had Gary Johnson Media, we had a Dante Production, we had Fresh Book Festival, we had the African American Cultural Society, some local businesses, community leaders, barbers, we all work together, no drama, no competition, no ego that I'm aware of. So tonight, I want to just talk about what that felt like, and I want to introduce our panel. And so just briefly, as I call your name, just talk about who you are, and then we'll talk about Saturday night. But just let the audience know a little bit about you. So I'm going to start with Mr. Chauncey Dunham.
Good evening, I'm Chauncey Dunham, the CEO of a Dante Production, and I do musical concerts.
All right, thank you. Eric Garvin.
I am Eric Garvin. I currently reside in Palm Coast, Florida. Native New Yorker, so a big New York Knicks fan, and big fans of Gary Johnson, Mr. Winston, and Chauncey.
All right, thank you. We call him our co-host, a financial analyst. Go ahead, sir. You know who you are.
All right, Carlos Perlman, financial analyst for the Thought Brothers, man. By day, a career in finance, by night and weekends, helping the student athletes out of my old high school in Prince George's County, Maryland, with scholarships and on and off the field support. And this past Saturday, man, was fantastic down at the great Palm Coast, Florida. Man, the movie premiere was fantastic. Train was fantastic. Chauncey, the whole crew was there. Donna.
Easy, Carlos. Easy. Save it.
Hey,
easy. Hold up. Pump your brakes. Easy. Hold up.
All right, I'm pumping.
Yes,
I'm pumping. I'm
Okay.
pumping. It was
Speaking of easy, go ahead, Easy.
Well, okay, so my name is Harold Hill, also known as Easy. I belong to the Flaming Knights Motorcycle Club for the last 25 years. I am retired. I done fell in love all over again. That's why I'm here up here in Palm Coast. So I've been here about 3 months, and now I'm in the video.
That's right.
So
you were one of the cast members.
The barbershop down there looking for a cut. I walked into Train's place. Actually, I think I had one cut with this brother right here, didn't I, Donna? That wasn't him? Okay, but anyway, I went into Train's and everything started from the barbershop. I only been in town for like 3 months at the time when all this went down. So here I am.
All right.
I'm on the Thought Brothers.
There you go. Ira Mooring.
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. My name's Ira Mooring. I'm the current president of the African American Cultural Society Museum. 25-year Coast Guard military veteran. Been living in Palm Coast about 20 years, and looking forward to this collaboration.
Okay, he just froze. Oh, there you go. You're coming back.
And, looking forward to this collaboration, man. This is something that I had as a vision, to be able to get on these digital platforms and showcase the African American Cultural Society to the community.
All right, thank you. He's known by everyone who watches the show as the researcher. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead.
My name is Bill Spivey. I'm a retired FBI agent. Been a member of the Thought Brothers for the past 4 years, and it was really a pleasure to see everybody here on the podcast on Saturday night. I have a whole lot more to say about it. I miss Colonel Garvin, but it was good to see Chauncey. Haven't seen him in, 10 years?
At least.
So it was really a good experience. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Mr. John Winston, take yourself off mute, and the floor is yours.
Tell you, I'm a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can help anybody. His name is God, and I'm very proud to be in his house this night.
All right, Mr. Winston, we'll be coming back to you. CJ.
Hey, everybody. CJ, guitar player, performer, media personality in the DC area. That's about it.
Okay. Last but not least, she's the voice. Donna, talk to us.
Good evening, everybody. I am the voice of Daytona Beach Radio on Joy 106.3. I'm also the CEO of the Fresh Book Festival held in the beautiful city of Daytona Beach. And behind me is my nonprofit, which is the Midtown Community Development Corporation. And we are about to build a 100-unit senior center in Midtown of Daytona Beach. We're very excited.
Right.
So thank you. I loved meeting everybody. It was just really exciting this weekend.
All right. So I'm going to start off with, before I even go and start off, I want to show you something because not everyone got a chance to see this. So I'm going to share my screen briefly and you'll see this. But I wanted to just pay tribute to Alan Johnson. He was known as Fox the Barber. And Alan was one of the breakout stars, Fox. And he and Train were brothers, like brothers. And unfortunately, or tragically, he passed away doing what he loved up there at the shop. And so rest in peace and power for Fox the Barber. Mr. Winston, what was Saturday like for you? I'm glad you were there, but just tell us what it was like for you, because you were one of the cast members.
After all these years, to see people who have come to Punk, none of us were original residents of Palm Coast. We were all interlopers who came here through the years, through our professional careers, etc., who found Palm Coast as a little place to come and plant a seed in our lives, or hopefully rest, comfort, play golf if you could, enjoy life. And it's amazing how many of us found a way to enter this community and provide an outlet of opportunity for other people. I met Tony the Barber, for instance, back in 1999. And I never will forget walking into a barbershop where you could get your hair cut, hear all of the local tribal conditions of what we were going through, buy a dozen eggs, and if you were really good, you could get a chicken too. I mean, Tony was everything that you would want to see in entrepreneurship. If you wanted your food spiced, he had hot peppers to sell to you. I mean, we were in a growing process of some of us very highly educated to many of us who had very little of any of that, just had been hardworking, involved with the New York City Transportation Authority. Many people who were just evolving, trying to find a new form of life to live in. And look at what we've done through all these years. interconnecting with each other, caring about each other, growing with each other. The African American Cultural Society was just starting to emerge after having been built, having to sleep in the facility while it was being built to keep the Ku Klux Klan from destroying it. When my first week here, I went to Bunnell, Florida, and watched as the Ku Klux Klan were marching in West Bunnell that night, carrying the torches, the whole 9 yards. That happened right here. And if you really realize the importance of all this, to this day, there is the Ace Hardware right on Route 100. And if you look to your left, adjacent to the hardware, there's a little building in the back. And guess what? That was the Ku Klux Klan cabin. That's where they met and had their meeting. I got to tell you, we've come a long way. God is good. And look at what we've emerged. And this, what you've been able to do, Gary, is such a growth of reflection on what we must do as a people to invest in each other, to keep each other growing and realizing the importance of self-determination and rising as a race of people, never to forget our past, always remembering and making a change.
Thank you, Mr. Winston. Ira, what was Saturday for you?
Hey man, Saturday for me was a dream come true. Whereas I could facilitate, that gathering, with the organization that I lead right now. And what the elder just said, I mean, man, it put chills in my spine, but see, his wise counsel is gonna fire me up to be the best president that I can be at that organization, because the time is now. The time is now, and I feel that, as Martin Luther King said, that fierce urgency of now. It's time, and this platform is a part of that. Sister Banks, Brother Johnson, my elder Chauncey, and all of you guys, man. I'm kind of taking that instruction and lead from you guys, man. You basically setting it up for me to go in there and make it happen. Make it happen.
Okay, great. Thank you. I want to go to Mr. Spivey. You and Carlos came down from the DMV, made a trip. So we'll go Spivey and Carlos in that
It
order.
was really refreshing to come down. I mean, I've been to Palm Coast before, stayed at Gary's house, but it was nice meeting a lot of the people here that I had been on a podcast with. But looking at that documentary, it really brought back memories for me. I've been in the Washington, D.C. area, or the DMV as they call it, since 1980 when I came here to take a job with the FBI. But I can remember growing up, being in barbershops like you all are talking about, with Mr. Tony's barbershop, where it was a safe haven. It was a place where you could go. I mean, people told lies. A lot of times you knew they were lying, but you still went along with the lies. And just an enjoyable time. Barbershops now have changed. Up in this area, a lot of times you go to a barbershop, it's a barbershop, it's a beauty salon. The language is not the way it used to be back in the day. But the other thing for me, being in Palm Coast, was learning the history of Palm Coast. I had no idea about the history of Palm Coast and the Klan. I mean, I was from Virginia Beach area, and down in the area where I came from, I mean, the settlers settled at Georgetown. And that area where I'm from is Georgetown, Williamsburg, Norfolk, Portsmouth, the Tidewater area. but we did not have the Klan presence because we had a lot of people in that area that was not going to tolerate the Klan. And so the Klan knew that, you know, they were going to get a resistance. But listening to Donna talk about the building we were in, the African American Culture Society, and she talked about the windows there, I would have never knew anything about the windows and how small they were to keep the Klan from entering. So for me, it was refreshing. As I said, it was a long turnaround, but it was worth every mile that we drove. And I had a really, really enjoyable time. And I will plan to come back to Palm Coast.
Okay. Thank you. Carlos, followed by Chauncey.
Okay. Hey, guys. Like I said, I echo what Mr. Spivey said. Definitely, that trip was well worth it. It was a great trip to and from, but the destination made it all. It was really outstanding, again, about learning about the history as well. I was taken back when I heard the information from Donna about the windows to the facility, talking about the Ku Klux Klan and those references and things like that. But what I saw most was, you know, the spirit of bringing people together and, you know, for a great cause. I mean, communities are built when somebody, strikes the match to start the fire, right? And it's a positive fire with people trying to learn about the history of the community, trying to promote the history of the community, and then bring people together to keep it going. So I think all those things are important anytime, because you really don't have a community until you have history and you have people come together. So I just want to commend Gary and the entire town of doing a great job of bringing it together, representing Palm Coast, and making us all who came down to visit want to come back. So great job, guys. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Chauncey, Easy, and then CJ and Donna.
Okay. I enjoyed Saturday immensely. You know, when Gary made me move to Palm Coast out of the DMV, I thought I am bored to death. And somebody told me, don't talk about being bored, do something about being bored. Therefore, I knew we didn't have music here. And I started a music company. And I just told CJ a couple of days ago, I don't want it to grow any bigger. It's growing too big. But one thing that I really never thought about, and Gary said it to me, and it's burning in my brain, the barbershop documentary and how it started was a look backward, which I needed to understand Palm Coast. But Gary said, let's keep the money in the community. It made me start looking forward. Therefore, the next show I did, some of the proceeds are going to go to the African American Cultural Society to help them grow and make sure that it keeps running and running well.
Okay. Thank you. Easy.
Yes, sir. So I come to Palm Coast. I was big about community and what everybody gets together and do things, at least as a community. So that kind of was great. And Saturday was good. Here I go again. Saturday was good, and I just like to see. I'm learning all the history through Donna. Of course, that's my baby. Seeing what now that I got her in my ear, I'm learning a lot about Palm Coast. That's every day I'm learning something new. So I'm enjoying Palm Coast while I'm here. Okay, I won't say too much.
Okay. Donna's like, Ixnay on the ABA.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, that was great for me.
All right.
I'm glad to meet Chauncey, all you guys.
Go easy.
I'm on the thought.
Okay. CJ.
Yeah, I thought it was a great event. It was great to see everybody in person. It's always great to foster community, and as Easy said, it's very, very important to do things in real life in this internet age where people connect online more than anything. But we're losing the community spaces. Even like Mr. Spivey alluded to, like the barber shops. Now we're seeing more and more private barbers. You know, like not the shop situation, but come to my house, or I got a private studio rather than the community that the barbershop offered in general. So it's great to keep those traditions and things alive through events and things like this.
Okay. Donna, what was Saturday for you? Long time Palm Coast resident.
I think that for me, Saturday was more than a history lesson, because I think it really did bring out the fact that everybody didn't understand that Palm Coast is only 30 years old. So we don't have 100-year history, but we hope to have 100-year history. But nobody will know about it if we don't start it, right? I came here as a very young woman, and I am so, with those years, it seems that I really want to make sure that whatever we do, a blueprint is left behind. And I thank you, Gary, for not saying no, because I do come up with these crazy ideas, Chauncey. But this group that I have now today, it is one that I've prayed for. And I thank you guys. And I thank our spouses, because they don't you ought to understand the time we spend away from them in order to bring you quality product, right? And so we take care of the small things, so the big things will take care of themselves. And the history of Palm Coast is very, very important. So thank you all for being there, and meeting the Thought Brothers was so special for me, and your wives. It was a moving experience.
Okay. Eric, I want to chime with you, and then I'm going to transition back to Mr. Winston on another question.
So, unfortunately, I was unable to make this event, and I knew how much Gary had poured into it and how much he had devoted himself. But I did see the initial showing of Rooted in the Cut, and it reminded me of just how important the Black barbership is to our community. Just like the church is an institution to us, particularly in the civil rights movement, the Black barbershop played a role in that as well. And given where we are with our country's status right now, I think now is the ideal time for that Black barbershop to reemerge as a center for the civil rights movement and helping people get engaged in the community, actively involved. One of the things that we often talk about in the barbershop, which was so eloquently displayed, is the banter that you have in the barbershop. That is a defining feature of the barbershop. Well, if I were in charge of all the Black barbershops throughout the US, I'd have a placard up there. And the placard said, "No engaging in any banter if you haven't exercised your right to vote." Because we are in a war. In fact, the Trump administration has declared war on Black America. And it's time for us to wake up to that reality.
All right. Mr. Winston, now I'm asking you all because some of us were getting echo. So when you're not talking, just put yourself on mute, or I'll have to mute you from the major board. But Mr. Winston, how do we create more events with purpose?
First of all, we've got to realize where we came from. We've done this so far by what you're seeing here this evening and what we've experienced with the past with Gary, your foundational support of production. Now we need to spread it into our churches and community groups more and more and more. I believe from that seed that we can plant, if we do it right, Black, white, as you saw, Gary, on your initial podcast, we had diversified people, Black and white, women especially, who were there, the women who were there, and they've gone out and talked about it. Believe me, we can make this grow if we all believe that from this tiny little seed, big, big oak trees grow. And if there's any race of people in the world who have grown oak trees. We have. The problem is we don't talk about enough among each other on how to grow oak trees. We keep talking about those things that may happen or could. We don't talk about where we've come from. Our children don't even understand what we're talking about this evening. I will never forget sitting in Flagler Palm Coast High School with a student. And I'm mentoring him at the table, and this young girl comes along and hits him on the head. And I said to him, "Well, who is that?" He said, "Oh, that's my sister. She's wondering, why is he wasting his time with this old man?" Well, that young man is now the manager of a Cadillac dealership in Waldorf, Maryland. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. But we got to believe in each other. Here in Palm Coast, year after year, we've survived upon the hard work and determination of those people who were sitting right in the African American cultural system while it was being built under those terrible times we were living in. And when this program was aired last Saturday, look who was in the room. Many people who had not been in there for years because of the importance of this event in their lives. We've lost many, many brothers and sisters who've gone on to bigger and better things. Eric Garvin, who's on this program now, did mention that he came to me about 4 years ago and said, "John, I want to put a program to develop barbers in Africa." Eric, I'll let you tell them not only how that little meeting was successful, but what you did across this nation.
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I'm back on. Well, John, thank you very much for teeing me up. First of all, community, it means, the Bible tells us to love thy neighbor as ourselves. In other words, put that other person above you. I've always had as one of my guiding principles is believing in something bigger than myself. And several years ago, I had the opportunity to run a charity in Kenya called Cross World Africa. And it was all about empowering women, empowering young men, and empowering the youth. And in the case of the men, our projects was specifically training them to be barbers. So we actually brought licensed barbers from the United States over there to Kenya. We went into the prisons, trained them how to cut hair. We went to the different villages and trained them how to cut hair. And it was life sustaining for these folks because you gave them a skill set where they could earn a living, and that made all the difference in the world. And that's really what this is all about, empowering our community by giving them a skill set so they can stand on their own 2 feet and fish for themselves.
Okay. I'm going to go to Ira, and then I open it up for anyone else to speak. But just to get your take, Ira, on how we create more events with purpose in our community. And Ira is frozen. Oh, there he is. Okay.
The vision and yeah, I was thinking about opening up my study door to let that signal in here because all you guys seem like y'all got the high tech equipment, But anyway, the mission and the purpose of the AACS is to, perpetuate, the cultural legacy of our ancestors and things of that nature. So what we want to bring to, this dynamic is a cultural, understanding and awakening, because it seems like that cultural dynamic is starting to fade, to a certain extent. We thinking that our history began with slavery, you know, instead of going back into antiquity and realizing, you know, the greatness that the cultural heritage, you know, presents to us. I think that's severely missing now with some of the younger generations, because, you know, that legacy has to be passed on from, you know, from mouth to ear, from elder to young person.
Okay. Let me open it up. Anybody else?
Hey, Gary,
Yes,
man,
sir.
purpose. Just make sure what I've learned through some of the things I've done in my communities. Um, Purpose. Listen to the people, right? If you listen to people and you get a collective sense of what's happening in the community, and you have a lot of people who want things to happen, and most people want a lot of good things to happen, they just don't know how. So that's why the networking comes in to play, so you can find out who has what talent. And then if everybody is working towards the same goal of uplifting the community through knowledge and through history, and just through doing things that'll make everybody feel better about themselves and where they live at, and then that becomes contagious, and it moves on to the next generation as well. So I would just say, in order to keep, you know, great events going on in the community, just make sure we keep getting people together, listen to everyone, take down. No idea is a stupid idea, right? Every idea has merit. You just have to find out, you know, how the merit's going to affect the community, and and you need that fire starter, man. You need somebody who can bring it to the table and fulfill a certain need. But working together with many people and listening to them can be a very powerful tool. And I believe that's how you can keep it going. And you can keep it going for a long time, because once people start to enjoy what they're doing, because, you know, it's sometimes when you work hard, you don't get a chance to enjoy the fruits of your labor until after the project is done. I'm sure it was very hard, you know, filming a movie on your iPhone, a documentary, and working many hours at night to make sure that project was great, making sure all the people who played a part in that movie, they had to get themselves together before they gave their spots. And, you know, that can be difficult. But then you have a wonderful event like we had Saturday. We see the movie premiere of the documentary Rooted in the Cut, and then it brings joy to everyone who was a part of it. So keep listening, keep getting together, keep sharing your thoughts, and you will see the fruits of your labor in the future. That's my take.
Okay. CJ, your younger generation, through your lenses, what are some things that we can learn or can do from people in your generation, from your perspective?
Can learn from do from what specifically?
Well, to help build on community and keep the momentum going with this project, well, with what this project's been doing in terms of community support, collaboration. And then I'll get to Mr. Winston.
I think you just have to continue to invest and pour into the community. And like I said, having events and, you know, going through, like you said, the trouble. And, you know, it's not, I'm someone who also has had experience throwing events. It's not always easy or a fun experience to throw a large event and to make it go off without a hitch. So to have the people willing to continue to do that, to have, like I said, cultivating space for people to communicate in person. The in-person part is really imperative, because again, like online interaction is not quite the same, and we're losing a lot of spaces where people, you know, can interact with the community and gather and fellowship and build the foundation for those things. So it's just to continue to do those things.
Okay, Mr. Winston, and then Donna. Go ahead, take yourself off mute, Mr. Winston.
It's so refreshing to hear that young voice that I just heard, and with his thoughts and where he feels we need to go. We need to bring this into the school district here if you want to see it grow. We have two primary resources that can be brought to bear: the African American Cultural Society and the group I've represented for over 24 years here now, the African American Mentor Program, which are already seeded inside the school district here in Palm Coast. We've proven our worth. Let's bring this to our children. It won't do any good for us to, we're historians working on each other of past history. We need to plant that seed, that big oak tree, do it inside our children's minds. That young man that I told you said to me in the school when the young lady hit him on the head, I'm trying to talk to him about did he realize his presence in life? And he said, oh, I don't know anything about this nonsense about all of you guys keep telling me about the history of what you suffered through, civil rights and all that. He said, my girlfriend is white. I don't have that problem. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And from that day to this, I've been still ringing the bell. Let's keep doing it. Bring it into our children. Let them realize what all of the past, all of you here with us tonight, the importance of can you appreciate all of the knowledge that you bring to bear that can be brought into the school district? Become a mentor. Become someone to carry it on. I guarantee you it will provide blessing after blessing of what can be produced in these young people who we then inspire to carry it on.
All right. Mr. Winston, I can see you're passionate and I can also hear you pounding. So you
I'm ready, buddy.
Okay.
You know, Gary, you've heard me say many times on the podcast, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And what Mr. Winston is saying rings true. If you don't teach these young people about the past, they are doomed to repeat it. And right now, with what's going on in this country, these young people are going to repeat what I went through in the 60s and what Mr. Winston went through, what Eric Gardner went through. And if you don't teach them about what people endured and how they survived, these young people are not going to be able to endure it. People don't realize right now, but you have a person in the White House who wants to take you back to the 50s. I have a cousin of mine, and Gary knows him, but he's chairman of the board of a Fortune 500 company. And we had a long conversation yesterday, and he was just back from a meeting with a lot of Black Fortune 500 people. And he was saying that people don't realize that this administration is really targeting Black women. And he was telling me it was a Black woman who was in a very high level position at one of the companies like Lockheed Martin or Grumman. And she's been replaced. He's on an all out campaign with DEI to attack Black women who are in high level positions. We know from what we've seen, he's trying to roll back the civil rights stuff. This was 1964. I remember when Johnson signed in the Civil Rights Act. He's trying to roll it back. So what Mr. Winston is saying is, if we don't teach these young kids what went on in the past and how we fought it and how they can fight it, they're not going to be made to endure this. And if they can't endure this, the current administration and the MAGA and the people who support them are going to win. But they have to learn what happened in the past so that they don't repeat it.
Okay. Donna.
So, Mr. Spivey, it is amazing that 300,000 Black women lost their jobs in the last year and a half. 100,000 live in your area. We spoke about that at the dinner table. But what AACS doesn't understand, that it is the only building in the region that is a society that's owned by Black people. There's nothing in Daytona. There's nothing in DeLand. There's nothing in New Smyrna. There's nothing in Jacksonville. They have museums, but they do not have a social organization that can bring these types of things together. And I think that we are pigeonholing ourselves in Palm Coast when really the connection between Palm Coast, DeLand, New Smyrna is Bunnell is amazing. And we need to reach out and be more tentacle about bringing other people and not being, as they call us, snobby Palm Coast people, right? And bringing them into the fold and making sure that they understand that their history is important to us too. So I think the AACS in the future will be more tentacle, more octopus-like, to bring people in so that financially, right? It only makes sense. So anyway, that's what I got to say.
All right. I want to go around, with the time we have left to make sure everybody has a chance to offer any final thoughts or any closing remarks, because I'll just say I was very intentional about using the AACS, very intentional about making sure that 100% of the net proceeds go back into our community. And I hope that I modeled the behavior and made an example so that people can understand that one person can make a difference. Everybody in that room Saturday night was important. If not, they wouldn't have been there. And so with the ticket price, a purchase of a t-shirt, like I said earlier, you became an investor. So it's not like, well, I don't have a business, I don't have this. You can participate and you can be part of the community. And that's what it happens. And I'm going to schedule a meeting with Ira so I can be real transparent about the revenue. So we'll get together offline for that. But I just want to go around the table and make sure everyone has a final thought before I make some closing remarks. Mr. Chauncey Dunham, any final remarks from you?
I don't know why I'm first. I'll tell you what, and unless you're from Philadelphia, you might not relate to this. My first set of haircuts for years was Father Divine's barbershop. And Father Divine and Daddy Grace were the big things when I grew up.
Big Daddy Grace.
Yeah, I went through that. To see the same thing in the barbershops today that went on then was very uplifting. The banter, the conversation. Palm Coast, and I agree with Donna, we need to do something to wrap our arms around the surrounding areas of Palm Coast. We are not snobby as we're thought to be. We're intentional. That's it.
Okay. All right. Eric Garvin.
So, Gary, I'm going to wrap this up in what I call empowerment umbrella. What you did was very intentional, and that element of the empowerment has to do with economic empowerment, keeping the dollars in our community and keeping them. I think that is fantastic. But I want to spend a little time talking about political empowerment, right? I briefly touched on we're at war. About 2 weeks ago, Rachel Maddow had a show, and she made it very, very clear that this Trump administration is deliberately going after Black people. The headlines are the Ukrainians are fighting the Russians. That's one major war. The Iranian war. But there's another more insidious war out there, and it's a war on Black people. Mr. Spivey touched on one element of that war, and that's rolling back 60 years of hard-earned civil rights movement. They've got people thinking now that whites are the primary victims of discrimination, right? The Voting Rights Act has been completely gutted. 2013, they removed the pre-clearance requirement, forcing these states and cities that are changing their laws not to have to go to the Department of Justice to get approval on that. And in the aftermath of that, you saw an onslaught of voter suppression laws throughout the country. And just recently, they gutted the other element of the Voting Rights Act. We are in deep trouble, right? And some of us are sleepwalking. It's time for us to wake up. And we can use forums like the AACS, the mentoring group, and all sorts of other forms out there. And the barbershop. The barbershop. We can use all those as forms of empowerment for our people. The 1968 Fair Housing Act, they're no longer enforcing that. And that was strictly to prevent you from discriminating against people of color. So there's all sorts of elements. They portraying our former president and his wife as apes, right? All of these things are happening straight from the White House. And many of us are still apathetic about getting off our butts and going voting. There should be no excuse for not voting, particularly in this era that we're currently find ourselves in. In fact, if you're not voting, you're part of the problem.
All right. All right, Mr. Winston, any final thoughts?
No matter how we look at this, history comes forth. The reason this program, what you're doing right now, with your innovative ideas, is starting a barbershop. Look at what it's already produced. We've got to see that if we don't carry this on, and as you just heard, voting an essential tool of the Black man. I watched and I hope all of you will go and watch the history of W.E.B. Du Bois. See what the history calls for us as Black men and women to carry on all of what we've already suffered through and build upon. But unfortunately, it's not being taught to our children. There are books in the library in all of our schools here in Flagler County that says there was no such thing as racism. Racism is a lie. We came here as indentured servants and were forced to work off our passage through those years. And if you can accept that and not do something about it. I sat in the barber shop today. Thank you very much. But here, two brothers, three of us actually on this podcast right now, who talked about Frederick Douglass, who talked about W.E.B. Du Bois, and talked about had we not ventured into our past, there's no way we're going to know our future. So we must please vote and carry it on. Don't sit at home sequestered in your bank account. Many of us are too mired in, oh, well, that doesn't bother me. I got enough to carry me through. Well, I'll be very straightforward with you. I've been appointed by 4 presidents. And like I heard one Black man said to me one day when I told him that, well, yeah, I was born in a barrel of butcher knives. I sharpened my teeth with a razor blade. I bit a rattlesnake and he crawled off and died. So what do you got? You see what I'm saying? It's not about what we've acquired up here. It's what we give back. He gave back to me the knowledge of saying you're nobody until you're somebody together, that we work together to achieve the ultimate goal of raising our people, not lowering us by acceptance. Eric was right on point. If we are living in the most dangerous time for Black Americans in the history of this country, if you don't believe it, look around you. Look around you. The water is coming closer and closer to our homes. And we better see it, produce the life rafts now to carry us out so we can come back to fight another day. That's my point. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you, sir. Carlos and then Ira.
Hey, I'll keep it short, sweet, and simple. Small businesses matter. Black small businesses matter even more.
Yes.
Okay? Community matters. Community gatherings matter even more. We even heard from CJ, right? You think CJ is our youngest thought brother, but he just planted the flag and said we need to have more face-to-face gatherings, right? I felt like I've never met CJ before in person, but I felt like I got a brother now because I actually saw somebody that I know is not an AI generated figure, you know? So, I think we have to make sure, again, keep our small businesses and our Black community strong by supporting them. That helps to circulate dollars in the community. Let's make sure we keep our community gatherings face to face going so we don't lose that sense of trust and brotherhood and sisterhood in our communities. And last but not least, regardless of how you identify, who you date, who you marry, Black Lives Matter. Okay? If you see anybody with some color in this country, that should be enough right there to let you know Black Lives Matter. Because I can tell you right now, the White House, the US Capitol, and this country was built off the backs of Black people. We can never forget that. And the best thing we can do to honor them and our ancestors is to make sure we vote not sometime, but every time. That's my take. I'm out.
Okay. Ira.
Go.
All right, man. Look, great discussion, everybody. I'm gonna be brief on mine as well. A scholar once said that a people without culture is like fish without water. Culture is the catalyst that's gonna allow us to do everything that we need to do in order to face these challenges that these guys have so eloquently explained, and I'm gonna try to control what I can control, with this organization that I'm in now, and we're gonna, try to move that we're gonna try to move the movement forward, in every way that we can. So I'm gonna put my work in, and I see you guys putting in the work too, and I appreciate it.
All right. Easy, and then Mr. Spivey. You got to get off mute, Easy. Lower left-hand corner. There you go.
I've been in Palm Coast for about a year, and I am feeling some kind of way about us Black folks in Palm Coast. It's kind of turning me on, We are doing some stuff out here. You guys are making me feel good to be in a community who wants to make a change. So I'm going to do everything I can do to be involved. That's what we got to do. You just got to be involved. So I'm going to commit to be involved for Palm Coast and for us Black folks in this area going forward. And thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Mr. Spivey and then CJ.
I just want to again applaud Mr. Winston, Chauncey, Donna, Ira, and Gary for what you all are doing down there. Where we are at now and what Eric was talking about, they're taking us back to the 60s. And the 60s was the Black barbershop and the churches were where Black people were protected, where you felt like you could talk, where you didn't have to worry about Jagger Hoover and them putting bugs in and that type of thing. You're going to need that now, because what is happening now is, as I said, history is repeating itself, but they're repeating it in a different way. Right now, they're going through trying to do this redistricting and that type of thing so that they can get more seats and more votes. Back in the day, they used to have a thing to keep Black people from voting, and Mr. Winston is probably going to definitely relate to this. They had a thing called poll tax and stuff like that because Black folks, a lot of them couldn't afford to pay poll tax, and that was the way they kept Black people from voting. So what you all are doing in Palm Coast, I applaud you, and this is what the young people in Palm Coast is going to need. They're going to need Mr. Tony's barbershop. They're going to need that African American Cultural Center. They're going to need places like that because we're getting ready to come into some rough waters, as somebody just said. And if we don't do something to slow this train down, that's coming. I have predicted and talked to a lot of friends of mine, if we don't do something by the end of the year, Donald Trump is going to have the same power as Putin and the rest of these leaders in these foreign countries. So we have to do something. And the black barbershop, the black churches, and places like that are going to be the thing that we're going to need to hang our hats on.
Right. Thank you. CJ.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone has been saying. Just to piggyback off of what Mr. Spivey was saying, yeah, it's going to be important to have spaces to organize. This is going to take more than, unfortunately, at this point, because of how far we've gotten, it's going to take a little bit more than just voting. Honestly, it's going to take more radical action. It's going to take more radical resistance and organization, because voting, it just in itself is not going to do the trick the way it has. I can even point to yesterday, one of the most expensive primary races ever to get rid of Donald Trump's really only critic in the Republican Party. They dumped over $30 million in a primary race in Kentucky to oust a senator who is very popular in his district, a Republican senator. So it's not just the Democrats and things like that. We're at a point where the voting is, we're at a precarious place where it doesn't matter as much as it should. It does matter, though, as Mr. Spivey did point out, though, because they wouldn't be redistricting and trying to take away black voices and black power in terms of the vote if your vote didn't matter. So I'm not saying don't vote, but I'm just saying beyond just voting, we need to continue to have spaces to organize, like I say, away from some of these corporate structures, because these corporate structures are all controlled now by these Trump allied entities, the billionaires. They own the Twitters, the social media spaces. So it's going to take people organizing in real spaces in real life, not just online, to really start to organize against this level of fascism that we have unfortunately found ourselves at.
All right. Donna, you got the final word.
History and literacy are legacies. Let's leave some behind.
All right. You know, last Saturday proved something important for me. And one of the things I was trying to prove is that one person can make a difference. And when people get together for a shared purpose, things can happen. And Rooted in the Cut started as a documentary idea, but what we witnessed Saturday was bigger than that. It became a community gathering. We're having a cultural conversation now. We're talking about a give back campaign and hopefully a blueprint that others can use. So there was power on the screen, but now there was power in the room Saturday. And if communities around the country begin to embrace all this collaboration, you can't stop. It's like McFadden and Whitehead. Ain't no stopping us now. And so I want that to be the goal. I thank everybody who participated in this podcast tonight for being here. Thank you very much. I'm Gary Johnson on behalf of the Thought Brothers, and we'll see you next week. Hang on, everybody.
Happy birthday, Donna.
Good night.
Oh, Donna. Oh, okay. I hear that. Got a birthday. All right.
It is tomorrow, and thank you so much. I am blessed to still be here past the dates that the Bible said that I will do. So
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Donna.
All right.
Families weeping under the dust. Homes built on pride and kingdoms built on lust. Children of promise, land in his hand. You can't keep pressing what you don't understand. Every wrong deed, every crooked plan leaves a mark in the earth, leaves a mark on man. He sees the land, he sees the line, he sees the crossing every single time. And when enough is enough, when the mercy grows thin, the shaking starts speaking. Shake it up, 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 get it right. Shake it up tonight. He's not pleased, he's calling us here. That tremble in the ground means his return is near. If the sky goes dark and the walls come down, still call on mercy. When the judgment sounds, let the proud fall low, let the broken rise. Before it all crumbles open return is near.